Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all my students. This side Chartered Accountant Ashwini Bhanushali, your tutor and your mentor for ATX. So yes, so in the first day and the first class, we have already completed a little bit of knowledge about what is the way the paper is going to come, how am I going to start my paper, and what are we going to go ahead with the concepts. So yes, in the first session in the YouTube revision series, we have already covered up in our CUTSA webinar, we have covered the first chapter, which is known as the Income Tax Administration. So yeah, I just need to confirm it whether we are live or not. Just give me a sec so that we can just confirm it. I think like we'll be live only, but still for a confirmation. Yeah, you have seen the first video, the first chapter, the first part. And really I want our students, you all to go through it that way first, because a lot of students tend to leave that chapter, tend to leave the first part. You know why? Yeah, we are live, so yeah, I don't have any issue then. Okay, so basically students, most of the students now don't see the first part, and they expect okay, the things will be known to them. So students, whenever I take up the first session or whenever I take up the first part, it is what we have to know when we do have plans for some basics and go ahead with some initials, like how I want to go ahead with the concepts, yeah, where I want to learn something, or maybe what am I planning to go ahead with, which notes to refer, which how to give the examination, how to be well prepared for your papers and all. So yeah, it is something which is go around of the details. Okay, so yeah, today we are going to carry forward today with the next topic, which definitely I'm not going to take up the income tax competition. Then you'll say, then ma'am, why have you opened up the slide? Yeah, I'll be saying the truth. So students, first when I completed the income tax administration, at the time I was just about to take up some concepts of income tax competition too. But then I eventually thought, when we are here with the like bottleneck situation, with limited resources, with a limited time, why to not take up those chapters which I have not taken it up? That means students, if you want to learn about the income tax computation, we have taken up the sessions in your September 2023 attempt, where you can get a lot of questions. That is basically, what are the types of incomes, yeah, what are the pro forma to record the income, how I need to pay the taxes, yeah, then the different allowances, no matter it is personal allowances, child benefits, marriage allowances, a lot of allowances and all. So personal allowances. So students, over here today we are going to understand a topic which I would definitely say that you would have heard the word planning, yeah. So tax planning over here. So basically we'll be understanding the concepts of tax planning, in which we will have to consider, see, when it is taxes now students, they cannot be ignored unless until we are good with the income tax calculations and computations. So we know the HMRC is the head, HMRC, to whom we have to just present over here, okay, this is my total income, and based on that this becomes my tax liability and you have to pay them. But this income, so from where am I getting the income? What are the sources of my income? What are the sources of my income? And let's say if I'm having some X amount of income, so completely the X amount of income will be your taxable income, or do I have any sort of deductions? Do I have any sort of reliefs available to me? Do I have any sort of exemptions towards which I may not supposed to pay taxes? So even that needs to be taken care of very well. So students, legitimately I'm telling you guys, in very huge and very detailed things we have learned it in our September 2023 video. So maybe if you want, we can just have a link in the description box for sure, and students, you can go through that. And once you are thorough with what is income tax competition, only please then come up with the session for the day, because today we are going to have just an overview of what is income tax computation. It's an overview. I will not be, I'm so sorry guys, I'll not be in the position to take up things in detail, because that is what we have already taken up, yeah. So today we'll be having an overview of the income tax computation. Along with that, we'll be having some focuses on the topic on which I can like have a relief or a benefit of tax plannings. So I'll be going ahead with what is tax plannings and on. But for the meanwhile, yeah, without any further delay, let's just get started with the core concepts, okay? So we are going to understand the concepts which is known as income tax computation from a broader perspective. So yes, it's a revision for income tax computation. Guys, it's a revisionary series. If you want to know the complete details of income tax computation, please do check my other video. Yes? Cool. Chalo. So first of all, why does a person want to have the income tax computation to be calculated? So students, we know that one thing which is very common, okay, that individual who is earning any sort of income, if I'm earning any income, if I'm earning, let's say income. So if I'm earning income, don't you think even my government would want some of the benefits from me? Yeah. Government is not going to give me free. Okay, Baba, you earned income? Enjoy your income. It's your income. I don't want anything. Government wants to give us benefits. So obviously they are going to take some benefits out of us. So government would want taxes. So it's my responsibility to give them taxes. So over here, to prepare the income tax return, to prepare the income tax computation for individual, taking into account the different sources of income, the availability of any deduction or allowances or reliefs, maybe to whom? Maybe to married couples or to family. Family means children too. So guys, we have a concept of married couples and families too, in which, let's say two people are married. Like obviously ma'am, two people are only going to get married, I know. But yeah, for some individual, like if I and my husband, I have explained you with the good concepts, with a good detail, but just an overview. If I am earning something and my husband is also earning something, okay. If we both are an average people, like average people means our earnings are not so huge. It's just like we are any which ways just dealing it our family with our family, okay. We are just a normal average level person that is known as a basic taxpayer, okay. So we have some benefits of personal allowances that I'll explain you. So can we shift our personal allowance? For example, if I am not so much earning, it's some little amount of earning, but my husband is earning a bit more than me, and because of which he is not able to get his allowances completely, like complete allowances. So maybe I am over here, okay, I'm earning, but my allowances, which I'm getting it, the personal allowance are getting wasted. So maybe I can like better say, okay, if I'm getting an allowance of 12,570, which is there, and if I'm earning only, let's say if I'm earning only 5,000, so don't you think my 7250, oh sorry, 7250, not 12,570 minus 5k, is it coming to 7570? Yeah. So don't you think if I utilize this amount of 5,000 minus this, I have an unutilized personal allowance of 7570. Yeah. So what to do with that? Okay, so that also we need to understand it. So can I transfer this unutilized personal allowances to my husband? Oh, so ma'am, there are certain exemptions. There are certain things which I'll explain you. We'll be going in details, but not so much of details also for sure, because we are not going to understand about income tax computation, but about different concepts. So okay, with that overview, we can just start the chapter. Okay. So income tax is what, guys? Income tax is a tax levied on individual. Because if it is a company, we have a corporation tax for them, right? So if it's an individual, whatever income they are earning, whatever taxable income they are earning, they have to pay tax on that. So ma'am, there is a difference between income and taxable income. I'll say a big yes. Income is every sort of thing which you are getting it in credit, but taxable income is something which is liable for you, that on that basis, on that income, you have to pay taxes. Okay. So taxable income is an individual's total income liable to pay taxes. Yeah, considering any deduction and something. Yeah, cool. So over here we'll be having just one calculation of income tax computation, which is very easy. So before I show you up this stuff, I would like to show you the tax rates. So I know in the last session also I have already shown you the tax rates, but I just want to recollect the stuff again, so as to explain you, okay, what are the things which we need to like ratify, means we need to memorize it, and what are the things which we need to have an eye on. Okay, these are the things which will be available in your papers. So yes, we have to do smart work, not the hard work only. Yes. So if you see, guys, over here, I'll change the color to yellow only. Okay, students, this is what the following tax tables will be given in your examination hall also. I have shown you in the help tax, yeah, the help tax rates. So if I just click on the help text, I'll be getting all the stuffs. So it's a very good advantage because now I don't need to memorize the rates. It's benefit. So over here about the income tax, first of all, if my taxable income ranges between 1 to 37,700, I have to pay a tax rate of 20%. More than that, till 50, it's 1,50,000, it's 40%. If greater than 1,50,000, it will be 45%. So these are known as your bands. If an individual falls between this rate, yeah, he is known as a basic rate payer. If he falls between this range, he is a higher rate payer and it's an additional taxpayer. Okay, so students, all this stuff is to be like memorized. No, at least it should be remembered. Okay, here and here I can just like get this stuff. Okay, it is just to be remembered. So as and when I want, I'll just let you know. Okay, we can just refer from here, we can refer from there. Okay, so I'll just open up the PPT. Okay, just see the question and try to solve the answer. If I was not knowing about the concepts, definitely I would have made the mistakes. How mistakes, ma'am? Over here, I'll just read the question. Yeah, for the year ended on 2022-23, the individual is having a non-saving income. We get a word here, NSI. What's NSI? Like NSBC. What is non-saving income? The income which I have earned not from savings, means for which I have did a hard work and I have earned that income. Yes, okay. So it's my non-saving income. So my non-saving income turns around to be 160. So you will say, ma'am, it comes in third slab. Ma'am, we are having an income more than 1,50,000. So ma'am, on that 45% you have to pay taxes. If you did this, I feel like, why have you studied ATX? If it's your examination, please don't do, because we have bands. Baba, we have bands. We have to bifurcate. Means, if I just tell you, we have bands. Like, I'll just write it over here. From pound 1 to 37,700, we have to pay 20% tax. More than 37,700, limited to 1,50,000, we are liable to pay 40% tax. More than 150, if your slab rate comes, you are supposed to pay 45% tax. So this is the bands you have to go ahead. So my individual has earned 160. So till 3770, you pay 20% tax. Okay, this is your tax. This is your difference of amount. This is your rates. So from 37,700 to 150, if you do it, this is your slab rate. 37,700 to 150. Please get it. Do you get a difference of 1 this, 1 to 300? For that, you pay 40% tax rate, and for remaining extra more than 150, my amount over here was 160. So basically for 10,000, you have to pay 45%. So this becomes your tax liability. And yes, Baba, this is your tax liability. Okay, got it. So this is what is the normal situation which everybody knows. Yeah, so I'm not wasting more of time in between them. Yeah, in front of them. Okay, cool. So yeah, Baba, we know there is a pro forma. Yes. If I want to like show the income, okay, ma'am, simple, ma'am, I can show anything. Like, ma'am, here I will show this income, ma'am, then I will show that income. No. We have a sample, we have a format. So that is known as a pro forma of income tax. So pro forma of income tax says that you have to bifurcate your income in 3 parts. First, when you have done the hard earned work, I have worked the hard a lot. That is your non-saving income, in which either I did my job, either I was having my own employment, everything, anything. Okay. So you have to bifurcate your income into 3 categories, which is non-saving income, which we normally say as NS, S and D. Non-saving, saving income and dividend income. And last we have to make up a total and calculation of. So that means if I have earned any income from your savings account, like bank savings and all interest, it will fall in your savings slab. If you have invested somewhere and you have got the dividends, it comes under the dividend rate, the dividend amount. But if I have worked very hard and earned something, which will come under your non-saving income. Okay, so non-saving things. So what are the stuff which comes in your non-saving income? It is like that way. It can be whenever if I'm working very hard. Let's say if I'm having a trading income, means if I'm doing some business, you will add it over here. If you are doing some job, you're doing some employment somewhere. If I have set up a factory or something else in foreign country, means I'm getting some stuff from overseas. So overseas income. If I have invested, like I know I'm getting a pension, I've worked a lot, I'm getting a pension, it's my hard-earned money, so maybe that. If I have invested in some trust, I'm getting income, maybe that. If I am having money and I have invested in the UK property, getting a rentals, yes ma'am, it's my non-saving income. Then if you see, if you make up a total of all this, you get the non-saving incomes total, okay? Then we have saving income. Saving income means where I was having some money, so I have invested it somewhere, like in the banks and all. So bank interest. So I have to always do a gross basis. If I have invested inside, I will add it. After getting all, Baba, I have to make a total. So total income will be what, guys? My total income is the total of all. That is NS, S, and D. You get a total. Then after getting the income, if there is any sort of interest qualifying, means that much amount, if you have made a donation somewhere, you get like adjust it, means you can just reduce it. So I'll adjust that income. I'll reduce that income. Then I'll get net income before losses. If I'm having any losses, please reduce the losses also. Then you get net income. And after getting net income, if my non-saving income is less than 1 lakh, I get some personal allowances of 12,570 till maximum 125,140. Okay, I'll explain you some amount. Okay, so you get the personal allowances. Forget about all this stuff. Okay, right now just remember we get some personal allowances. After getting personal allowances, I'll get the income on which I have to pay tax. So it's my taxable income. After getting taxable income, now you have to find out what is the income tax on 3 parts: first, second, and third. If you remember, we were having a tax rates. I'll just show you in the tax rates also. Over here, if you see, these are my normal tax rates: 20, 40, 45. Means it is some taxes on your non-savings. If you see here, a starting rate of 0% is applied to savings. Savings will be nil rated till 1000. So for savings also this will be your tax rate, but for 1000 it will be 0 rate, and if it is more than that, then you have to book the bands rate. If it is dividend for initial 2000, it will be 0, nil rated, and otherwise it will be this rates. Okay, so whatever I just showed you, we are supposed to write it over here, and that is what we don't have to learn it. It will be provided in your question. So if it's non-saving, 20, 40, 45, 0, 20, 25, 45, 0, 20, 40, 45 for your savings. And for your dividends, initial 2000 it will be 0, otherwise it will be 8.75, 33 and 39.75. Along with that, if I'm having any allowances for pension, please reduce that. Any contribution, please reduce that. Okay. If I'm getting up so much of stuff, then what I get it, guys? I get less any reducer. What's this? What's EIS, ma'am? What's EIS? So it's enterprise. Over here, enterprise investment schemes. Then it's seed enterprise investment schemes, and VCT means venture capital trust. Ma'am, what is all this? Arey Baba, it's an investments. So ma'am, you told that whatever income I'm getting it, I have to pay taxes on that. Then why are you reducing this? See, these type of investments are some investments which the government would want you to make in investments so that it is beneficial for you guys. So sometimes it's like these types of investments are backed by government securities. So they want to promote us. Okay, Ocha Baba, whatever income you are having it, if you pay full taxes on that, maybe the living standards and all, so the government is giving some relaxations. Okay, for your betterment, if you want to invest, we will give you some kind of relaxation also. Okay, I just need to know whether am I stuck or not. No, I think it was for initial part. Yeah, let me just see it once. Yeah, just for a glance I thought like it's been stuck, but otherwise it's fine. So like I think now it's perfect. I just need to know it for once. Just give me a minute now, students. No, I think now I'm fine. Yeah, because I just have to now go on seeing in my mobile that whether it is fine or not. So I was like feeling it. Like now it's perfect. Chalo, chalo, chalo. Will not waste more time. Time is very precious. Exam is coming very near. So all these types of investments have been promoted by government. So they have told you, okay, Baba, if you want to invest somewhere, you invest, we'll give you benefits. Then we have a concept of marriage allowances. Yeah, what is marriage allowances? Like I told you, okay, maybe you can transfer you to your spouse some PA. What's PA? Your personal allowances. Maybe you can share something. So yeah, we can have that. Third, if it is some property, business and income finance, yes. Less DTR also. Then we get what? Income tax liability. So this is now my tax liability. Let's say my tax liability is, let's say, pound 1 lakh. And already your PAYE is already been deducted. Means TDS is already deducted at the rate of, let's say, 80k. So now your payable is only 20,000. Okay, you have to further pay 20,000. Okay, that's fine. So this is what we have to know it. So whatever income we just chose it, guys, whatever income we chose it was what? Was liable to be paying taxes on. So taxable incomes are something on which I pay taxes. But there are certain incomes which are exempt, means on which you don't have to pay, oh, I'm so sorry, on which I don't have to pay taxes. It's an exempt income. So what are the main examples of exempt income? So students, like I'm telling you seriously, I will not at all trust this. Being an Indian chartered accountant and practicing in India, like for me, this is something which is seriously, it's that situation for you also. Those students who have taken up the exemption, and after being an Indian CA, if you're trying to make it up, you will also be feeling astonished when you realize that for betting and gambling or gaming winning, they don't pay taxes. But in India, we pay the max tax. Full 30% tax we pay. Yeah. For like income from letting a room for its certain level up, yes, certain incomes and benefits, okay, interest from some repayments, okay, but these betting and winning, they don't pay tax. I am astonished. Yeah, but cool. It's better. we can go there and settle. Yeah, can be possible if possible. Okay. Then we have some notes, like for example, interest received gross. We always have to show interest in gross. Like for example, if it is 16,000 interest, we know 20 percentage may be cut. So what we do, 16,000 divided by 80 percentage. So it comes to 20k, we record that way. Yeah, I'm just writing it. So over here, interest received gross includes the interest received from banks and building societies. Okay, cool. Most of the interest is now paid as gross without any TDS being deducted. If it is deducted, we have to book it gross, means it's something like 20 percentage tax would have been deducted. So over here, for example, just think and tell me, let's say my income was, let's say 1 lakh. Okay, I was working somewhere, this was my income, but they have already deducted my PAY, means my TDS has been deducted at the rate of 10,000. So is it fine in my income tax I show? Okay, no, my salary is only 9 lakh 90. Are you mad? No, you don't show net off that TDS. Ma'am, I have to show completely, and then you have to show downwards. This much is deducted. Agreed? Yes. So this is what we do it, right? This is what we just calculated. Agreed? Yes. So this is what they have asked us. Okay, so we will divide it by 100, into 100 divided by 80. So it is nothing other than, I'll divide it like for X amount, divided it by 80 percentage. Cool. Other dividends include the dividends from any other part. Okay. So over here, we have already learned this, and this is what I just wanted to like explain you. Over here, the offset of certain losses are there, so we can just even offset the losses also. Like if I'm having any losses in the previous year, so maybe I can just settle it off. By how much I can settle it off? The max and the greater of what? The greater of whichever is greater, either 50,000 pounds or 25% of ATI, adjusted total income or adjusted income. Then Baba, we have learnt very well the personal allowances. Please learn the personal allowances. I'm requesting you all. It is the first thing which is going to come in your each and every question. If you make this wrong, your liability will always be wrong. Calculation will always be wrong. So personal allowance is normally 12570, but it may reduce to nil for some people. How? I'll explain you. And these are your normal basic non-saving NSSD. Your rates. This first slab 20, 40, 45, 20, 40, 45. But initially, if you are having some incomes, saving income of how much? If your basic rate payer, 1000. If your higher rate payer, it's 500. So it's 0. Then dividend income 8.75. This please don't learn it. You know it, and you are very smart enough that you know from where to find it out. Okay. So taxable income is to be, as I told you, I have to book my taxable income into 3 parts, which is NSSD, non-saving saving dividend. It is important to even remember the basic rate, the higher rate. Okay, that was something which we can do. The donations and the gifts. Okay, that is not an issue. We don't need to remember. We have all such things. We have over here the personal allowances between the partners, civil partners. 10% can be transferred. What's that? What's that? And the tax can be reduced to 252. Ma'am, understanding nothing, ma'am. You're told to see this, but I think, like, ma'am, it's better you explain us. What if I explain you right now? Will it be fine? Yeah. So, chalo, we will not waste more time, okay? Because I know that most of you would have seen also my video, maybe. Yeah, maybe you will say, okay, ma'am, we are well aware of these concepts, but right now just see, I'm not teaching you in the details, but like just brushing up the concepts, okay? Just brushing up the concepts. Please, please, please try to please try to bear the brushing up of my concepts also here. Just an highlight of the things, okay? Okay, I'll just start it up with the first concept of what I'll start it off with, the personal allowances. So what's the first meaning of personal allowances? See, whenever a company or whenever an individual earns money, then government is not so selfish that government will say, "Acha, this much money you earn, give me tax of this much percentage." So they'll tell, okay, even we know that you are not even earning so much. Like we know, its earnings are not so much, and beyond that, you have lot of responsibilities with you. Chalo, now we will give you certain allowances, and the allowances which is fixed over here is pound 12570. So you will say, okay, ma'am, should I even remember this? What if I say you know, Baba, don't remember this? So ma'am, where will I get it? I'll show you. Where will I get it? I'll show you over here. If you can see, please check it over here. Do you find this personal allowances? Yes. If you find this personal allowances over here, personal allowances, we get it of 12,570. Over here, its return maximum limit is 1 lakh. And something of 125 is given, and something 0, ma'am, something transferable 1 to 6. Ma'am, a lot of things are given, right? Can you please explain? You will see me. I'll say you, why not? This is why I am over here. Oh, I think like I was writing something and it went off. No, it's there. Okay, I'll just open it up my PPT and yeah, we'll just continue with it. Yeah. So over here, when it's personal allowance 125,770, means this is the amount which you get some relief or allowances. Let's say I'll just quote one question to you. For example, if an individual, this is given to whom? To a normal average person who is earning a total income of how much? A total income of lesser than, let's say, 1 lakh. If your income is lesser than 1 lakh, you get full allowances. For example, an individual's non-saving income is, let's say, 75k. So we'll give him a personal allowances of 12,570 and we'll tell him, okay, Baba, please pay taxes on the remaining amount. So what he'll do, ma'am, 75k minus 12,570. So he'll be having an income of how much? So he'll be paying at 6 to 430. So this will be his income. So on 6 to 430, he has to pay taxes. So it's his taxable income. So can you tell me how much taxes he'll pay? Yes. So he is liable to pay a tax in the name of slabs, that is in the band's rate. So remember what was the band? From 1 to 37,700, it's 20%. For remaining till 150. The difference of this? No, ma'am. The difference between this. So initially for 37,700 you have booked, then till this much. So I can book like that if you want. It's 40%. So I can do like this, ma'am. 62,430 minus 37,700 into 40%. So if you see that, guys, what is my tax rates? Okay, I can make it now smaller, a bit smaller, so that it is easily visible. Yeah. Is it visible? Okay. Chalo. So what's the amount? 37,700. Okay, 37,700 into 20%. It's 7,540, your tax rate, plus 62,430 minus 37,700. You will do it, ma'am. 62,430 minus 37,700. Ma'am, I'm getting a difference of 24,730 into 40%. Yeah, into 40%. Are you getting up a tax of 9,892? So yeah, if you make up a total, 7,540, so you'll be getting a tax around this much. Are you getting something around 17,432? Yeah. Now this is my tax rates. So this is my normal thing which we need to know. Yeah, which we need to know. So this is your normal stuff. Fine, very normal. Then up next we know, okay ma'am, I'm telling you something around 1 lakh and all, ma'am, where it is important. So let's say if your income exceeds 1 lakh, for example, if your income exceeds around 1 lakh, then you will not get 12,570 full as your personal allowance. You will not get. So ma'am, how much personal allowance will I get? Just try to recollect it. There is an ANI which we have to calculate. Yeah, adjusted net income we have to calculate. For example, let's say my income turns around to be 1,05,000. Okay, so you will say, ma'am, my threshold limit is 1.5. So my threshold limit is, let's say, 1 lakh. So till 1 lakh you were getting it full. So how much extra you have earned it? Ma'am, I have earned 5,000. So on 5,000, please calculate 50% disallowances. Means whatever excess you are earning it, whatever excess you earn of that 50% is not allowed. So ma'am, 5,000's 50% comes to 2,500. So 2,500 of your personal allowances is not allowed. So ma'am, how much is allowed? Okay, so allowed personal allowances was 12,570, but disallowed is 2,500. So if you see 12,570 minus 2,500, so now I will be only allowed with this much of the personal allowances only. There is 1,070. Cool, understood? Yes. So this is what we are supposed to learn it. So what if I say you, okay ma'am, what will be the situation multiplying with the 50% that you can completely get the allowances? Means what is the maximum salary or what is the maximum non-saving income? Getcha, if you exceed this limit, your personal allowance will always be 0. Yes. So I'll directly give you the answer, and I hope like most of the students knows this concept very well. But yeah, for a betterment only, I'm just explaining you. I know this word because, for example, if an individual is having an income, non-saving income of 125,140, yeah, then his personal allowances will be 0. And if anybody is having more than that income, then obviously it is going to be 0. So how? So let's say this is my income minus the threshold limit of 1 lakh. You get up a difference of 25,140. Please see what is disallowed, 50%. If you disallow 50%, it's 12,570. So initially my personal allowances was 12,570. My disallowance is also 12,570. In short, it's 0. So this is what 125,140 amount comes into relevance. So if you could analyze of it over here, are you getting this amount? First of all, did you got this 3 figures? Personal allowance 12,570, understood. Ma'am, 1 lakh is my limit, and ma'am 1,250 it's okay. More than that it will always be 0. Then what is ma'am transferable allowances? So in the transferable allowances, they have returned up like in the question, you can, like if it's a marriage allowances, okay, if it's like the marriage, if like the 2 people, okay, if there are like 2 people like Mr. A and Mrs. A. Let's say Mr. A and Mrs. A both are like basic taxpayer, huh? They are not so rich, basic taxpayer. Not so rich, normal. So basic means their salary should not, their income should not increase 37,700. Okay. Let's say Mr. A is having a non-saving income of, let's say, 20. Let's see, how much can I like give? Okay, let's say he's having some income of, let's say, 34,000. Okay. Mrs. A is having an income of, let's say, 10,800. So both of them are having income lesser than 1 lakh. So definitely both of them will get a personal allowance of 12. Both of them will get a PA of how much? 12,570. in 12,570. So what I'll do, guys, I'll just deduct it. So the total taxable income is how much? For Mr. A is going to be 34k minus 12,570. So I'm getting nearly around 21,430, and over here, ma'am, I'm getting negative. What negative? 10,800 minus 12,570. Ma'am, I'm getting nearly around 1,170 negative. Means nobody is going to give me any relief. So don't you think, okay, this much extra my PA, I am not able to utilize it. So can I transfer this much to my husband, because we stay in the single family? So they have told, Kacha, if you want to transfer also, any which ways you both are like basic taxpayers, so you both are not so rich also. So they have given you some exemptions. Okay, if you want to transfer, please transfer, but don't transfer more than 10% of PA. Hey, what's that 10% of PA? What is the total personal allowance of 12,570? 10% of PA's excess you cannot transfer. So how much you can transfer to your marriage allowances? So I can maximally transfer 12,570 into 10%, which comes up to be like 1257. So they have given a 1260's limit, which again you don't have to refer it. So means I can transfer how much? I can just transfer 1260. So if I again transfer it to my husband, 1260 minus 21,430, like you'll get. So I have to now pay a tax. Means my husband has to now pay a tax on only 2170 as his income. Getting it? Yes or no? So over here you will say, okay, ma'am, 1260 and everything, I have to learn it. Guys, you guys are so lucky that you don't need to learn it. So do you get over here something with 1260 transferable amount? So no need to learn it. No need to learn it. Got it? Yes. So this is a concept which I just wanted to like highlight prior to I take up any other questions. So yeah, over here we have understood about the 1260. Oh, 1260 we understood, na? But ma'am, because of transferring of 1260, if I transferred, am I getting any benefits? Yeah, I'll get the benefits. Because now he is a basic rate taxpayer. So if I'm transferring it, don't you think 20% of the tax will be saved? Yeah, 20% of the tax means how much? Are you getting 252 will be saved? Yeah, so I'll get a benefit of 252. This is how we go ahead with the tax, baby. This is how we go ahead with the tax. Yes or no? Clear? Superb? Yeah. Over here, income taxes, my IT, my CGT, my capital gains, and my NIC are assessed for a tax year. Yeah. So trading profit are also assessed for a tax year, but there may be some different bases. Okay. So we have to know one word. Many a times when there is a civil partnership, means like not like marriage, but like a courtship, or maybe like a living relationship. So I and my boyfriend were very happy. Like we thought, like let's purchase a house. So we purchased a house. He invested 80% of the money. I invested 20%. But it's understood like many times it's jointly owned. So many a times he also get the exact amount. I also get the exact amount of rentals. Maybe we can adjust that. Yeah, we can adjust that. We can put it as per the ownership or the percentage of the ownership. So individual taxpayers are separately assessed for income tax. It's not like, oh, we two are all together. Like, oh, we want to stay together. No, no, no. For individual income earning, you both are two people. For your income tax eyes of you, you are not like one person only. Okay. So please don't make the shit over there. Yeah. So cool, just try to understand it. So for individual taxpayers are separately assessed for the income tax purpose on their own taxable income, including their shares of some jointly owned assets. Like I told you, like one house. 80% he invested, 20% is this line only I invested, that's all. Okay. So that is a separate income tax computation. We have to do it for the civil partner, different tax rates. So we have the personal allowance which is given. The standard allowances is 12,570. By now you would have learnt it. By now I think like you would have learnt it. Okay. So now I am not taking it up. Okay. So all these topics, I have just taken up the topics. Deduction from total incomes, donations to charity, married couple and families. Yeah. And all this stuffs now students I have already taken up in your first topic. So yeah, over here we have taken up a good amount of revision which is relevant from the perspective of doing the further questions for the day. So I hope you guys would have understood the income tax competitions a bit, like a smaller part, like it's just like not even 5%, it's just a 10%, like 5-10% of the topic, yeah, which is going to be beneficial for us in further chapter which I'm going to take up, and that is known as planning over here for the tax plannings. Okay, so before I go ahead with that chapter, let's take a break of 5 minutes and we'll resume it back with a full-fledged energy to complete the topic. Yes, so let's take a break. सो हेलो स्टूडेंट्स. सो यस 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 हम अब वो टॉपिक पे आ गए हैं जिसके लिए हमने कब से प्लानिंग कर रहे थे. प्लानिंग इन शॉर्ट, प्लानिंग मीन्स प्रिपरेशन. या सो हम क्या पढ़ने वाले अभी. सो वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द प्लानिंग ओनली. यस, व्हाट्स प्लानिंग. प्लानिंग अबाउट द टेक्स्ट प्लानिंग्स. ओके, सो जब मैं आपको बोलती हूँ स्टूडेंट्स, वी हैव अ वर्ड विच इज नोन एज टेक्स्ट प्लानिंग एंड टैक्स अवॉइडेंस. क्या ये दोनों भी सेम है? मैम आप बोलोगे कि मैम हमें पता है कि टैक्स प्लानिंग इज़ नॉट सेम एज टैक्स अवॉइडेंस, क्योंकि टैक्स अवॉइडेंस अलाउड नहीं है. मतलब आप टैक्स को जानबूझ के कम कर रहे हो तो वो हो गया मैम टैक्स अवॉइडेंस. कि आप जानबूझ के टैक्सेस नहीं पे कर रहे हो, दैट इज टैक्स अवॉइडेंस. तो मैंने बोलूँगी कि हाँ मैम टैक्स प्लानिंग में भी तो हम वही कर रहे हैं, लाइक वी आर जस्ट रिड्यूसिंग द पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स. तो इज देयर एनी डिफरेंस बिटवीन टैक्स प्लानिंग एंड टैक्स अवॉइडेंस? सो यस, वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इट इन द कॉन्सेप्ट्स. देखो स्टूडेंट्स, काफ़ी सारी बार ऐसे होता है कि पीपल ना मैन्युपुलेट करते हैं. जो जगह पे जहाँ पे टैक्स पे करना चाहिए वहाँ पे कम टैक्स पे करते हैं, टू मैन्युपुलेट थिंग्स, राइट, टू मैन्युपुलेट थिंग्स. बट कभी कभी ना गवर्नमेंट ने, देखो गवर्नमेंट इज ऑल्सो नॉट सो क्रूअल. या ओह इट्स हिंदी इंग्लिश, या इट्स इंग्लिश, सो आई स्पीक अप एवरीथिंग इन इंग्लिश. या सो आई जस्ट बी फाइन विद इंग्लिश. ओके, या. So I was just at a break, so I just was fresh enough and I had a tea and some water, so I just forgot it's in English, full English. Yeah, we'll just take up in English. Yeah. So students, yeah, do you really think the tax planning and the tax avoidance are two different parts? So if I'm saying yes, it is. Yeah, it is, obviously. So there, what is the basic difference between tax planning and tax avoidance? If I just go with a broader perspective, both the things if I feel same, means ma'am even in tax planning we are planning to pay lesser tax to government, and in tax avoidance we are planning, no, we are like thinking of like I don't want to pay taxes to government, some or the other way I want to avoid paying taxes. So both the perspective I'll think ma'am, in both the situation I want to pay less tax to government, less tax to my HMRC. But which is valid and which is not valid? So you say ma'am tax planning is something which is valid. It's okay, it's valid because tax planning is something which the government has allowed us to do. Has allowed us. But this tax avoidance, it is illegal. Means what, guys? You just need to know one concept. Like, see, government isn't so cruel that whatever income you're going to earn, they're going to say, okay, this much income you earn, come on, give me tax. No. They will say, okay. See, we know that even you are doing a hard work and you have earned money. So we'll just want our share. But if you do a situation like if you earn somewhere and if you invest in a proper way, which the government has allowed you, okay, Papa, if you invest in so and so thing, we'll give you some benefits. If the government is allowing you, okay, if you invest in so and so stuff, we'll give you a better way. Means you get a benefits, you get a deductions. So all the stuffs are allowed. And utilizing a proper resources, what government has told us, and doing the work that way, and then reducing the taxes to be paid in a legal way is known as tax plannings. So yes students, today we are going to understand something about personal tax plannings. So what's personal? Personal means an individual. If an individual is earning an income which is obviously liable to be paid a tax for, and if something happens like, okay, instead of paying up a tax on the exact amount of what earnings the individual had, but if I'm investing in some or the other way which government has permitted, for example investment in certain EIS, that is enterprise investment schemes, which is allowed, which the government told, if you invested in the investment scheme, we will give you some benefits. Means how much you have invested, we'll give you that much reduction. If you invested or if you just donated it to the charitable institution, good, you're doing a good work, we'll give you a deduction. But then I'll come up and say, Arey ma'am, I have did an expenditure, I have purchased like the food. Oh, for food, will you get any benefits? No. Ma'am, I have purchased clothes. Ma'am, I have, this is all my like normal grocery stores expenditure. Government is not so mad to give you exemptions for all this stuff. That is something which is basic. But the government wants to promote some investments. So in this all areas, they are giving some tax benefits, where if you invest, you don't have to pay taxes on that incomes. Sorry, on that expenditures. Okay. So yes, with an overview, to like understand what is tax planning, let's just understand the introduction. which says, first of all, what are my objectives? To consider more in depth of the tax planning aspects. From which perspective? From income tax perspective plus capital gains perspective, capital taxes perspective, and to consider personal financial situation of an individual taxpayers. Okay. So over here, the basic concepts now, basic concepts. I have told you my students, a lot of students have came up with the ATX after claiming an exemptions from the tax. So maybe basics of your tax will not be so much of highlighted, but nevertheless, over here, some of the topics are from your basic tax concept of your skill level, but most of your new concepts are from your ATX. Okay, the tax planning is from ATX, is more involved and more detailed, covering a lot of different types of tax. Okay, so don't worry if you haven't studied tax. We are going to study the tax also, because that is a base which we need to learn. Okay, so without having any further delay, let's start with the main concepts that we are going to learn it for today. That is basic tax planning, tax planning. So over here there is some reminders of the tax concepts which we have learned, but over here now if I'll explain you, you will get to know each and every stuff on the spot. Can you tell me, if I'm earning some income, on which type of incomes I'm not supposed to pay taxes? Try to memorize. What if I say you have an income in savings, like you have an interest income, you have a dividend income, do you think on the whole income I was paying taxes? Ma'am, initially some band, zero rated band, ma'am, we were having some benefits. Yes. Yes. So to plan accordingly, yes. To plan accordingly, guys, to plan accordingly. I'm just portraying to all the things over you. So please try to get it over here. See, am I having an income which is zero rated? If I'm having saving income, oh, I'm very bad with this colors. Yeah, choice. Yeah. If I'm having a saving income with a nil rated band, which is, if it's a basic taxpayer, if individual is having £1,000 as his saving incomes, yeah, then he don't need to pay taxes. If it's a higher rated tax person, then £500, he don't need to pay taxes. If it's an individual who is having a dividend, okay, of 2,000 only, so it's a zero rated, means he don't have to pay taxes on that. So don't you think if you are having any sort of incomes regarding all this stuff, you are not liable to pay taxes? If I'm not liable to pay taxes, it's also a tax planning. Means you have to consider this thing and move ahead. Okay, I hope it's clear. Yes. So yeah, even this is the first point which they have learned in the tax purposes, but we also know. Okay, we also know about this. That is what initially for dividends, you remember, for first pound 2,000 you don't need to pay taxes. Further depends upon the bands. So the shareholders or the owners managers are extracting dividends at least of pound 2,000 to take an advantage of nil rated bands. Or if I'm making any investments in where save individual saving account, yeah, even that you don't need to pay taxes. Then we have a concept which is known as maximizing or making the maximum affordable contribution towards where? Towards contribution towards pension schemes. So pension schemes is also something which is allowable expenditure, so you can just like book an expenditure over there. If I'm making any charitable donations, we get some benefits. Even if you remember one word, if I'm having some as a separate taxpayer or the partners income tax, okay, income tax planning for whom? For married couples or civil partners. Civil partners are those who haven't yet married but they are just living together. Can there be any sort of tax plannings for these type of people, like the married couple or the partners? So ma'am, how can they do any sort of planning and plottings? So yeah, as I just explained you in the like half an hour prior, that if they are having any personal allowances, right? If the guys have any sort of personal allowances, if Mr. X or Mrs. X, if any of the party, if any of the person is having income which does not utilize the whole personal allowances benefits, so yes, to the max extent of 1260 can be transferred to the other party. You remember the other person? Yes. So as a separate taxpayer, we know each spouse is entitled to full or partial personal allowances. You remember? Yeah, pound 1 lakh. if it's till here, you get a full PA of how much? Personal allowances of 12,570. But if it is not utilized, you can maximum transfer how much? You can maximum transfer pound 1260. So yeah, there can be a situation. Along with that, you can use the basic tax rate bands also for doing the next situations. For first, please try to understand it. Like, these are certain reliefs which will be helpful for us. Maybe if the question comes in the examination, it will be better. For example, for both the spouses are working. For example, if both of them are working, if one of the spouse is running it their own business and another spouse is not having so much of taxable income, okay, maybe there can be a situation that there can be a double tax savings. For example, if one is situated and one is employed spouse as allowable trading expenses, another one can get the remuneration out of it. So yeah, that can also be a situation. Alternatively, if you see, where participation of both the spouse in the business is significant and important, they are the partners or shareholders. Yeah, that can also be split the higher income. Means if there is a company in which there are two partners and which they both are husband and wife, so there can be a situation where the individuals are earning other income, yeah, and the company is being taxed other way. So there can be some adjustments. Then if you remember, I told you, Kacha, this was my house property, yeah, house property, in which Mr. A invested, let's say 80%, but Mrs. A only invested 20%. But it is known as jointly owned. So jointly owned means the rentals what they were getting it, they were being taxed in the hands at the rate of 50-50%. So no. If you want, you can segregate it also, 80-20 also. That's also allowed. Means appropriate division of ownership of the income generating investments. Income generating means I'm getting a rentals out of my house property. Rental generating, that is rented property, share bonds, bank, building, brick building, etc. And the national saving product. If a single asset, yeah, just try to recollect this stuff. If a single asset, okay, yeah. If a single asset is jointly owned, the income is presumed to be shared at the rate of 50-50%. A joint declaration can be made if they want to split it according to their ownership. Means I would require a declaration that, okay, Baba, both are feeling okay, that now, ma'am, we want to share the income at 80% and 20% ratio. Why can they want this? Can there be any settings? Let's say a person who is having only good income, good value, very good value, like the other way income. Maybe if he is getting 50% of income, where his own share is only 20%, so maybe he has to pay more taxes. So to get a benefit of tax purposes, they would want, okay, we'll just have a declaration and we'll own exactly how much we want to own, so that we don't end up paying more taxes. That can also be a situation which the person can have. Then if you remember, the nil rate bands of savings and dividend income must be considered in tax planning of the couples. Yeah. Why it is important, you'll get to know in the questions. Can this be also helpful? Yeah, this can also be helpful. Because you remember, there was a difference. Okay, like one person is like it can be happening, like individual person, if he is a basic rate payer, he has an exemption from savings nil rated at the rate of £1,000. If he is getting, then he gets the 0 rated. And if you're just getting confused, I'll just show you up. At any point of time, students, if you're getting confused now, do open this and just read it for once. Yeah, every time I'm telling you, just read it for once, okay? Yeah, just read it for once. Like saving income for nil rated. For basic taxpayer, it's 1,000 till that you get it. For its high rate payer, it's 500 only. Dividend also. You have to just go through the concepts. Yeah, you have to go through the concepts, otherwise you will not be able to recollect the stuff. Okay, just read it once. The nil rate bands of the savings and dividend income must be considered in tax planning for couples, as it is not sufficient to only look to the higher rate or lower rate spouse. No, I have to consider both. It will be normally be beneficial to maximize the utilization of both the spouse nil rate bands, and this may also involve transferring income from the lower income spouse to the higher income spouse. Can that happen? Yes, it can happen. I'll just have one example and you'll understand it. As we know, the savings, that interest savings, we know that basic rate payer, for him, the allowances of nil rated is for 1000 and for higher rate taxpayer it is 500. So it's different. Getting it? Yes. If the higher earner has saving income, if the higher earner means, let's say my husband is earning well, he's having a saving income, it's a higher earner has a saving income and the lower earner does not have, so it's better to try to send him, because he can get 1000 till 1000 he can get a benefit of 0%. So yeah, we'll just understand it, how it works well, The same happens with the dividend also. With the dividends, you remember, okay, it's 2000, yeah, till 2000 you don't have to pay anything, it's a nil rate till 2000. If one taxpayer receives exceeding 2000, let's say for example Mr. A and Mrs. A. Mr. A is getting a dividend of, let's say, 2500 and Mrs. A is getting a dividend of, let's say, 1000. So over here, why to pay taxes when you can transfer your 500 here? So if Mr. A can transfer 500 here, so he'll be having 2000 and he'll be having like 1500. So both of them are not supposed to pay any taxes. So like this you can make an adjustments which are permissible. Yeah, it's permissible, it's permitted. So once if things are permitted, it's allowed. Once the things are allowed, you can practice in this situation, okay? So it is fine, it's fine, we can do it that way. Yeah, just give me a minute, I'll just drink the water for first. Yeah. Yeah, I was just having my water, that's all. And now, yeah, if one taxpayer receives dividend, exceeding 2000, they should consider transferring some shares to their spouse also, for which they can get a dividend so that they can utilize the zero rated band. Getting it? Yes. But that this at times happens. Okay, however, it is very important to consider what rate of the dividend will be charged if it is nil rated band. Okay. So we know when it is 2000 and more, if I'm a higher rate taxpayer, my rates will be different. If I'm a basic rate taxpayer, my rates will be different. If you want to know, okay, which are the rates, just have an eye on this word, you will get to know it better. Yeah, are you getting it over here? Yeah, over here if you see, if I make it bold over here, if it's a dividend rates, if I am a basic rate taxpayer, so my rate will be 8.75. But for both, it will be 2000. For the 2000, it will be 0% only. 0% only. But if it is a higher rate payer, it's 33 and then 39. So the rates are getting changed. I hope you're getting it. Yes. Cool. Pretty fine. Yeah. Okay. Now let's just read it ahead what they have given up over here in the questions. Yeah. So here there will be higher rate taxpayer and it over here will be some basic rate taxpayer. So yeah, there will be certain rates which are different. Okay. Along with that, if you remember, I have explained you about the personal allowances. So if an individual, like see, for personal allowances to transfer now, both of the people, the person, both the wife and the husband, both of them should come in the basic rate taxpayer, because they should not be rich. If it's rich, please don't transfer it. If some of the one person is getting some extra PA which she or he is not able to utilize it, they can transfer it to their spouse, but transfer is restricted to £1260, so that they can get a savings of how much, multiplied by 20% tax rate slab, because they will be a basic rate payer, so only 20%. So they'll be getting a benefit of 252 only. Cool. Just try to read it once. Yeah, please try to read it once. So here, it may be possible for one taxpayer to transfer only 10% of the personal allowances. My personal allowances is 1270. Only 10% means 1260. Guys, we need to buck up that way. This is what the revision is. You're not going slow. We don't want to go slow. We don't want to go steadily. We want to go fast. Yes, that way. Okay. Of the personal allowances of the spouse, children, etc. or civil partner. So not children, civil partner. My bad. Yeah, provided that neither of them is a higher rate taxpayer or additional, because they want to have a basic taxpayer, basic. Yeah, the transfer will be beneficial when, yeah, the transfer will be beneficial if the transferor has unutilized personal allowances. I told you, if the wife is having some extra amount which she hasn't used, utilize it, then she can transfer the benefits to her husband, so that the husband's tax liability is also reduced to an acceptably low level. Okay, and the transfer is maximum allowed till how much amount? So yeah, it's fixed, which is 1260. Yeah, it's 1260, which is fixed, so that the person can get a benefit of how much? Only benefit of 20, because it is in the basic rate taxpayer, isn't it? So obviously they'll be having a tax of 20%, so that much is the savings. I hope you guys got it. Yeah, so with these we are at a position where we can solve some questions. So yeah, students, are you guys ready to do some questions? Yes or no? Yes. So yeah, with all the josh, with all the enthusiasm, we have to start doing the questions which are important. And yeah, I know most of the students would have tried this type of questions, because any which ways your exams are coming very near. But I am expecting that if you haven't, this is going to be useful for you guys. Okay, so without having any further delay, let's just start with 3, 2, 1 and yeah, go. Okay, with all the beautiful questions up next. So what's the tax planning and for married couples? Yeah, students, if you are getting these things confused, just give me a minute. If you're getting these things confused, please do watch the videos of the income tax computation. There I have taken up the things in very much detail, but still I'm trying to explain to the max possible way with which you don't need to check that video, but before that only in hand you can get the concepts. Today you should assume the date is 1st March 2023. Okay, sit and name, what I can, what shall I pronounce him? Naeem. It's not Naheem also, it's name only, whatever. It's, I'll just pronounce it as SNN. Say and name are the married couples. The two people, say and name, are the married couple. The expected income for the current year is given on the date. So the employment income, if I just say Sate and name, I can compare it. The Sate is earning something which is more than what? More than the basic rate. Yeah, so it's more than 37,700. And the name is earning something less. Okay. So if it's an employment income, means it's a non-saving income on which the person has did a huge amount of work. Then we have bank interest. A bank interest is a saving interest, right? It's a saving thing. Yeah, it's a saving thing, because a person has done a savings, means he has worked very hard. No. He hasn't worked very hard. It's just a saving income. Maybe he'll be having some X amount of money, so he have invested somewhere and maybe getting the bank interest and all. But say it is not getting any income, but name is getting interest. Then it's a rental income. Oh, are you getting a rental income equal 15? Is it 30k? Yeah. But they have given one word highlighted. Actual ownership is 20:80. So maybe actual ownership is Sate and Naeem. So the 30k, the actual ownership is Sate will be having, let's say, 20%. Naeem is having, let's say, 80%. Why they have given? Because I'm getting a hint that Sate is any which ways earning more income, right? Naeem isn't having so much of income, so maybe they want to like transfer it. So if it's a situation, what do you think? What should Sate get? Maybe Sate should get like 6,000 and he should get like 80%, means 24k. Okay. Instead of 50-50, instead of 15-15, they should get this much. This is what my mind should run in the direction. Because it is allowed. So maybe this can be a transaction where I need to change. Maybe. Let's just read what they have given for them. Sate and Naeem normally have the property income spread between 50-50, but they are wondering if it's better to elect to claim actual ownership. Yeah, that's what we have just calculated it. If they plan to take up as per actual calculations, okay, can they have any benefit from paying the taxes? If they want to know paying the taxes, let us go and solve the questions as if they don't have any sort of this type of adjustments. Then what will be the original tax? Then I will analyze, okay, if this is the original tax and if I am indulging myself into all this type of adjustments, what can be the amount of tax which I can save? So that is our tax planning. Okay, So with that overview, let us just jump up to the conclusion, which we can analyze it. Okay, students, I'm just writing the answer for us. Like in the examination, I'll suggest you guys to have a word, like in the word, but now I am not expecting myself to write in the word. I'm having pen and paper, so obviously pen, I'll write it with pen for sure. Okay. Now, what is my first point to do it? I have to calculate the income of both the people. What's the both people? Said and Naeem. So let's say over here about Seth. What is the income of Seth? If you read the question, Seth is having an income of employment income of 42, no bank interest, and a rental income of 15. Okay, I'll just write whatever it's given. So if you remember the way we write it, it's NS, S and D. Any which ways they don't have dividends, so if I don't put D, it's okay. So first of all, they have some employment income. What was the employment income? Ma'am, it was 42. Was he having any bank interest? So ma'am, no bank interest. Nothing like that. Was he having something else? Yeah ma'am, he was having the property income. Yeah, you remember that house property? Yeah. Income of both having 15 and 15. Okay. So if I take up a total, what is my total income? What the Naeem is having? If you check Naeem's income, it's 50. Say its income, it's 57,000. 0. Clear? So nowhere there is dividend given. So it's like not required to show the dividend. Okay, I'll be fine if I just show this much. Guys, if an individual has an income which is lesser than 1 lakh, what do they get? I told you, okay, this is something which will always come up. Even if you know, even if you don't know, you have to record what? So you'll say, okay, ma'am, I always have to record the PA. Yes. So what's PA? Ma'am, the personal allowances always reduce the personal allowances. And if my personal allowances will always be reduced if my income is lesser than 1 lakhs, so your personal allowances will be 12,570. If I reduce 12,570, can you tell me what is the income that you are getting it? As per Naeem, as per that person, as per Seth. As per Seth, his income will be, please do it in your calcs. Are you getting 44430 and saving income will be nil? Yes. If it is so, can you tell me what is Seth's taxability? Taxability means tax liability. A tax liability. What it is? What is tax liability? So his income, is it something, he is a basic rate taxpayer? So ma'am, basic rate taxpayer now. So he should have an income which should be obviously lesser than 37,700 to come in the first band. But it is more, na? If it's more, you have to just bifurcate it. 44,430 to bifurcate it into two parts. 44,430. So it's bifurcated into two parts. First band, which is 1 to 37,700, and it is like something 44,430 minus 37,700. So you get the difference over here. You get 20%, you get 40%, and that's all. So what is the amount I'm getting it? Please get the amount. Do you get something around first slab of 37,700 into 20%, which comes up to 7540? 7540. Over here, if I just take up the difference, I'm getting the difference of 6730. On that, if I'm paying up the tax of 40%, which comes up to 2692. So in short, my Seths will be having a tax of 10,232. Please do it. I have done it, so I have the answer for that, but you guys have to practice this for this. So as per the normal situation, Seth is going to have a tax payment of 10,232. So this is what the normal Seth is going to have a payment for. Till here, no doubts? Sure? Okay. This is what I did for Seth. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just give me a minute. Yeah, okay. Now, what about Naeem? So Naeem is having an employment income of only 5. So very less. I think very less, ma'am. Bank interest also 2. And rental of more. Okay. So let's go and do about Naeem also. Yeah. Over here, let's just try. Okay. Let's just go ahead with Naeem. Yeah. Let's go up with Naeem. Naeem is having also, let's say, the non-saving income and the saving income. So he is having the bank interest also. For him there is a saving income also. So he's having employment income, he is having, let's say, bank interest and some other house property income also, some etc etc. So 5,000 over here. Here it was 2,000, and over here, if you remember, it was 15k, right? So what was the total income the Naeem was also having? Is it 20,000 and 2,000 over here? Is it so? So maybe, what do you think? What should I calculate it? Yeah. Is it this much fine? So you will say, okay, ma'am, obviously, if his income is lesser than 1 lakh, he is also going to get what? The personal allowances. Yeah. Minus the personal allowances of 12,570. So if I just cancel it, what is his income? What is his income? So yes, students, this is what you should know, huh? Okay, you have to show it separately. So 7430 and 2,000 of your saving income. So if you show, yeah, this is the total income, but you have to pay the taxes. How? But tax liability needs to be different. Why? For your non-saving, you have a slab. Which slab I'm having it? So from 1 to 37,700, you have to pay how much? 20%. So yeah, it comes under this slab only. First point. So what is your tax liability? My tax liability, I'll put it with black color so it's clearly visible. Yeah, my tax liability will be 7430 into 20%, which comes up to how much? Please do in your calc. Is it 1486? Yeah. But what about savings? Do you remember about saving income? Is he a basic rate taxpayer? Yeah, ma'am. If he is a basic rate taxpayer, to the extent of 1,000 pounds, he is required to pay 0% tax. Yes. So he is having a saving income of 2,000 pounds. Till 1,000 initially, zero tax, 0%. For remaining 1,000, he has to pay a tax of how much? For remaining 1,000, what was his tax rate? Same as the slab rate, which is going to be 20%. So is it going to come 200? Yes. So if you see, the tax will be 1486 and 200. Can you just see it, guys? Are you getting it? Yes or no? Yes? Clear? Super. So what is his total tax liability? If you see, the total tax liability is 1486 plus 200. Is it getting 1686? Yeah. So 1686 is whose liability? Naeem's liability. Okay. So if you see the question, my Seth's liability was how much? Seth's liability was 10,232, and Naeem's liability was something which is 1686. Okay. So now they thought, can we have any difference? Because Naeem is having not so much of liability, but Seth is having a huge liability. Can I transfer something? So yeah, they have spoken about word. Okay, they want to have this word. Like Seth and Naeem has thought of that 50-50 property we don't want. We want 20:80 ratio. Arey Papa, if you want 20:80 ratio, is it so simple? Can I have 20:80 ratio? Yeah, you can have it, but ma'am, you have to have the declaration. Yeah. So actually what they want to do, they want to split the 20:80 ratio between whom? Naeem and that other person. So if they want to split that into this ratios, guys, how much will it be divided? So if you just read the ownership over here, yeah, the actual ownership over here was 30. First of all, it was 30,000, right? It's 30k. It's 30,000, right? 30,000. If you check the ownership, Seth is having how much ownership? Yeah, if you see, if you want to know, you just read it. Ownership, Seth is having 20 and he is having 80. So can I take up this picture? Yeah, I can take up this picture. Maybe if you want, I can just put it over here also. Yes. So I'll just skip it over here. Just try to analyze it. This is Seth's situation and this is Naeem's situation. Yes, agreed? Yes. So if I just make it over here, is it given the same? Yeah, the actual ownership is 20:80. That resultant of 6,000 of the property will be for Seth and 24,000 it will be for Naeem. But today I have recorded Seth's of 15,000 and Naeem also 15,000. So don't you think from here, yeah, it should be 24. So can I add here more 9,000 and can I remove from here 9,000? Yes. If I remove 9,000 from Seth, will I have any tax savings? So you think any which ways both have to pay 20%, 20% and 40% slab was there. So Whether 20% things will change? No, ma'am. Only 40% slab will have any differences. That means 40% slab which Seth was having to the extent of 6320 to the extent of 6730, only out of that also 20% will only be saved, because any which ways the next party is also has to pay 20% tax. So only there will be a saving of only the remaining 20% out of 40. 20 so he'll also pay now. So what will be the savings? I'll be only having a savings of 6730 into 20%, which is equivalent to pound 1346. So an individual will be having only this much of savings. Getting it, yes or no? How? We know this can be a situation because if you read it, yeah, the name was having how much? First of all, if you can just mention it over here, I've just wrote it over here. Yeah, if you just read it, Naeem is having how much of the income? Please read that first. Yep, Naeem, if you see, initially Naeem is having only 9430 income. How? Can you read this? Yes, Naeem is having only 9430 income. Are you getting it? Yes. I'll mention that with purple color so it will be visible. 9430. So to come up in the first slab itself, so he's having still a spare capacity of how much? Is he not having 28,270? But I to only have to transfer only 9,000. So it will be in this first band only 20%. So it's okay. But Seth has paid 40%. So he'll be having a savings of how much? Remaining 20% on this 9,000? No, ma'am. Only on the amount which is pending, which was 6730 into. So are we getting 1346? Is it 1346 by savings? Yes. So this is how we read it, guys. This is how we try to answer our questions. So I hope you guys have understood this also. Easy, 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 pakka easy. I know this type of questions take time, but I'm telling you students, okay, these type of questions are expected to be there in your paper in one or the other adjustments. So yeah, students, I have seen this type of questions in your adjustments. When it's a full-fledged question now, you get some types of adjustments in the questions. So yeah, these type of questions I have seen in the adjustments. So yeah, it has its own importance also. Yeah. Okay, I think it's not so difficult, isn't it? Yeah, we are good to manage. Okay, now we can just go ahead, yeah, with the next point about the different parts where we can have another part of savings also. So what we have initially completed was about the married couples, about the couples, about the civil partners. Up next we have a concept which is known as further income tax planning. What is further income tax planning? What I can plan it further? What is further income tax planning? So over here, the government has given us some concessions that okay, baba, some deductions. If you want to have some savings, if you want to have some investments, you're free to save in, let's say for example, somewhere at the name of EIS, or maybe some other, that is like other EIS or SEIS or VCTs. That is, ATX commonly examines tax plannings in different way. Yeah, which comes in section B, which I know. So different type of incomes are being differently taxed, we know. So a taxpayer has to take care very well about the efficient manner. For example, sometimes he can have an exemption from where? For example, some dividends, yeah, savings, or maybe nil return ban. Some benefits also, and sometimes he can have a better savings in the investments, which is known as enterprise investment schemes, then seed enterprise investment schemes, and venture capital. Cool. Over here, if you can see, many taxpayers will be interested in tax efficient expenses. Yeah, if you remember, there was a pension contribution of 45%. People are interested to also see where if I do expenses, I get the benefits. Because people are ready to do expenses, but people aren't ready to do the tax payable. So they don't want to pay the taxes. So even we know that this is a very good stuff which is known as investment in EIS, SEIS and VCT, because it is backed by government. So this type of securities will always be in a better position. Yeah. An important area of tax planning for individual will be obviously the pension contribution, because pension contribution is always helpful. In addition to basic rate, also higher tax people also get the benefits. So it's obviously going to be beneficial for the people. Okay. Even if you know this concept, that there is a 60% slab, if you remember. Also, where a taxpayer earns between this amount. You remember what is this slab? It is that part of income between which you get the personal allowances. If your income is beyond 125, 140, you will never get any sort of personal allowances, if you remember. Yes. So also the taxpayer who is getting any sort of personal allowances, the effective tax rate due to the loss of personal allowances is 60%. Yes, due to that losses, it's 60%, so they have allowed you more for savings. So yes, there is a tax loss of 60%. So if the taxpayer makes a pension contribution, he can adjust his income and he can have further tax savings of 60%. So even that is beneficial. So with all these concepts, can we do one question which helps us and asks us about the pension contribution? Like, if I am having a pension contribution somewhere, is it beneficial? Or if I am like engaging in some business without having any pension contribution, is that better? So yeah, we just need to have a comparison to which type of thing is better. Like with pension is better, that you have to pay taxes, or like without pension is better if you have to pay taxes. Okay. So yeah, without having any further delay, we just need to go up in the second question and just try to solve the second question, which is again very easy. Okay. So before I read the second question, let's just take a break of 5 minutes and we'll resume it back. So yeah, let's gonna start with one more question. Okay, chalo. So we are going to do with the pension contribution stuff. Okay. So Jason is a self-employed. Self-employed means someone who is engaged in its own business and profession, and he is going to make up a profit of 115,000. Okay, okay. In the year ended on 23rd 23. Okay. He has no other income. Fine, that's no other income. Cool. Calculate the tax savings. When they have asked tax savings, we have to open up our mind that they want to know about the plannings and plottings which we can do to save the taxes. Okay. For Jason company, for Jason, if he pays 16,000 pounds net, we know 20 percentage. Yes, net means 16,000 divided by 80 percentage. Are we getting nearly about 20k? Yes. So we have to adjust somewhere in the ANI, adjusted net income. So let's see how it goes. So when they have asked us about the tax savings, now students, so we have to answer it in both ways. Like, is it better to have a contribution, or is it not better to have a contribution where he is going to pay lesser tax? So I obviously know that whenever some person has to contribute somewhere, like without, like with the pensioner, obviously it's a true stuff that whatever they contributed, and if the government is giving them some relaxation, so please contribute, please pay lesser tax. Why do you want to go ahead with paying more tax when you have the opportunity? Yeah, so we'll just read it and we'll just try to solve the answer. The first part we will be doing it without pension contribution. What will be the situation if it is without pension contribution? Okay, if the company is doing, yeah, without pension contribution, yeah. So what is the income that the individual is earning? So yeah, he'll be having some self-employment benefits. So yeah, the person was having some trading income. Some trading income, which was how much? 115,000. So yeah, what I can do is I'll just mention it over here so that it becomes easy for me. Trading income was 115,000. Yeah. Now, can you please tell me if I'm not going to contribute anything? So what type of like, am I going to get anything, or I have to pay the taxes on this amount? So you will say, okay, ma'am, you get a personal allowances. But what if I say, okay, ma'am, more than 1 lakh, how will I get any personal allowances? But yeah, you know one concept. Yeah? Yes. So we will do over here only, I'll do the working note number 1. Well, let's say I am getting my personal allowances. Okay, what's my personal allowance? My maximum personal allowances is gonna be 12570. Okay, but how much will I get? So for that, you have to figure it out. What is your net income, or ANI, adjusted income? So my net income is nothing other than 115,000. Then you will see what is the limit, what is the threshold limits. Ma'am, my threshold limit was 1 lakh, right? Whatever extra I'm getting it, more than that, that much 50% is disallowed. Okay, so if you do it over here, minus the threshold limit. So if I'm checking upon the threshold limit is 1 lakh. So if we check students, it's, ma'am, 15k is what? The excess amount. If this is the excess amount, then what is to be disallowed? Ma'am, 50% is disallowed. Means 7,500 is disallowed. So how much is allowed? So you have to get the disallowed value here. So personal allowance is 12,570 minus disallowed is 7,500. So if I reduce it, what is my allowed allowed personal allowances? Are you getting nearly about 5070? Yes. Now this is your personal allowances. So what will I do? I will just take on the situation. I'll check the trading income. I will reduce the personal allowances. So what I will do, guys, I will take the trading income of 115,000 and I will reduce the personal allowances of allowable, that is 5070. So what will be my income, guys? So if I say my income is gonna be, please do in your calcs. I want everyone to have word in their calcs. It's not like random. Are you getting nearly around 109? Yeah, I'm getting like 109930. So on these now I have to have a tax liability, income tax. I have to pay income tax on this. So you remember the bands. So I'm telling you guys, do so much of questions that the bands are like in your head. Yeah. So I have to learn it. Like till 37,700 it's like 20%, and beyond that means 109930 minus 37,700, whatever stuff you get, multiplied by 40%. So if I get this, what is the amount? So I have also learned about 37,700 into 20% is always it's 7540. So, but because now I told you with time you are going to learn it. 7540, and over here what's the difference, guys? Get the difference. Is it 72230 into 40 percentage comes up to 28892? Yeah, it's 28892. Getting it? Yes. So if you take up the total, guys, if you take up the total, if you sum up, okay, I'll just do one thing. Okay, if I sum up now, students, both this, if I sum up this and this, what is my tax liability, guys? What's my total tax liability? This is my total tax. I have darkened it very bad. Is it 432? Yeah. 432. So this is what your tax liability if you have done without pension contribution, without any sort of pension word. Okay, without pension. Okay, without pension contribution, this is my stuff, without pension contribution. But what if they have given something else also in the question? They have given up, let's say, get the tax savings if you are doing the pension contribution of 16,000 pound, and that is net. Okay, so let me do that also. So I'll go ahead and find out with contribution, with pension contribution. So if I'm going ahead with pension contribution, my earnings are not going to change. My trading income will be as such, yeah, but there will be certain change in the nature, because if you're doing any sort of contribution, you have to adjust your adjusted net income. Students, right now also if you guys are getting confused, my humble request, like hardly request, is please check out the prior video, or else you're going to get confused more and more often. So please check the videos prior, which I have taken it up in the September 2023 onwards attempt, which will be obviously going to be same till your March 23 attempt, because afterwards the things are going to change for sure, but at least you can utilize it for your benefit. I've not taken up so long time also that it will not be fruitful for you. Okay, so I'm having some trading income of 115,000. Then if you remember, I was having some pension contribution. If I see the pension contribution, my contribution was 16,000 pound, but it was net. But I need to find, I know the tax liability will always be 20%. So what's the gross amount? So I always do like the 16,000 divided by 80%. It comes up to be 20k. So now 20k is something which is beneficial for me, isn't it? Yes. If 20k is beneficial, can you tell me what will be your personal allowances? For that, I have to reduce the personal allowances. So for personal allowances, figure it out with the working note 1. Normally my PA turns around to be 12,570, but over here, my income, my adjusted ANI, I have to find it out. Income is 115,000 minus 20k. Why? This pension contribution, you get a deduction. So if you reduce it, your income is 95,000 only. So if it is lesser than 1 lakh, do you not get the complete pension, like, personal allowance? Yeah, I get the complete personal allowance, isn't it? So yeah, right now, if you just check it, I get a personal allowance, that is complete personal allowance of how much? I get the complete personal allowance of 12,570 only. So here my PA will be 12,570. So if you just deduct it, I'll be getting the amount on which the total income I have to pay the taxes at the rate of what amount. So please do calculate 115,000 minus 12,570. It comes up to be 102,430. So now this is nothing other than your taxable income. On that you have to pay the taxes. So I'll just take up the taxes for what I'm going to pay. Now this is important, guys. Here we will make mistake. Why I told you we'll make mistake? So I just got to know my income is 102,430, isn't it? Yeah. Is it so? 102,430? Yeah, 102,430. My income is 102,430. So if I go with the normal bands, I know 1 to 37,700, it's this. More than 37,700 till 1,50,000, it's this 20% and 40%. So ma'am, you told ma'am this is what we already know it. But when you have a contribution towards pension fund. What amount of contribution you had? Did you had some contribution worth 20k? Yes, ma'am. So even for that, it comes in your basic tax pay. So it's your income to be shown as a basic tax rate. Yes. That means what, ma'am, you are trying to tell? Yeah, I'm trying to say over here. First is for initially 37,700, do 20% tax, fine. But for 20k also, do 20% only. So ma'am, what is the remaining stuff here? So 37 over here. So if you see 102,430 minus 37,700 minus 20k also, yes. So my remaining stuff over here turns around to be 44730. So for 44730 only you have to pay 40% tax. So I'm trying to make things very easy, but if you don't understand it, I just can request you to please see the first video, because over here it's a revisionary portion. So I just cannot expect to explain everything in detail right now, because it's for your examination. So it's 11540 over here, both. And over here, if I just check it, it is gonna come to 17,892. So if I just check up this and this, what is my total tax liability? So my total tax liability, if I add on both the stuff, it's 29,432. So over here, with pension, my liability is 29,432. Without pension, my liability is 36,432. Without liability, sorry, without pension, my tax liability is going to be 36,432. And with the pension, my liability isn't so less. Yeah, it was something nearly 29,432. So if you see, ma'am, I am having a super savings. Savings of how much? Yes. Do I have a savings of 7,000? Yes. So this is what they have asked us. Calculate the tax savings where it can be applicable. So yes, this is your tax savings which is applicable. Is it not super cool? Is it not super easy? Yes, it is. It is, okay? It is. So over here we have understood about the pension stuff also. Now, with these, we have completed like two important parts. Now we have some small parts which we need to learn it. And yeah, will not take like more than half an hour for sure. And we'll be at a position to complete the personal taxes, in which I have taken up only for income taxes. Okay, for income taxes only. So students, if you want to work more hard with this, please have a word. Please study it to the maximum possible questions which are there from ACCA study resources. So it's not something which I'm going to promote your ACCA study resources, but actually I'm telling you it's the gem which people don't read it, and I want you guys to read it, okay? Yeah. So yeah, what are we waiting for? Yeah, we're going to work with the working at a margin. So it's margin. Please don't say, these are the words which you're getting it for the first time. No, please, I'll be having a attack. Being able to work at a margin, it's important, which we know is a concept of ATX. It's also very important to recognize at a time which are too complicated. For example, it's a straightforward situation where you have to value rather than finding it out the computation. Means when a taxpayer is already a higher taxpayer, you know what happens? For example, just think. You are having an option. Like for example, you're getting an earnings of let's say my non-saving income is equal to 1,51,000. Oh my god. Isn't it very problematic case? Yes, ma'am. Because if I'm exceeding like 1 to 37,700, it was my tax rate at the rate of 20%. Something 37,700 to 150, it was 40%. But only it's 1,000 more, but still you enter into a higher tax rate of 45%, where it's not just this much, guys. If you're getting any other dividend and etc., your tax rate, you are a higher slab rate. I mean, just something at a margin. If your tax rates changes, you have to consider that also. So this is the meaning of working at margin. That shows over here when a high taxpayer is already a higher or additional higher taxpayer, yeah, and the income will be increasing just for simple amount, very simple. So they may increase from 40 to 45%, and maybe extra NIC also they have to pay like 3.25 and some other percentage. So they are having some concerns. What can be done? Can there be any situation which can be changed or can be manipulated or can be taken care of? So yes, we can do the questions over here, which we'll read it over here. So similarly, income could be okay. Similarly, income could be reducing. Yeah, I'm not like okay, fine. Similarly, income could be reducing, and tax saving is also to be calculated. In such a situation, yeah, with a higher rate and additional taxpayer, this should be relatively very easy and straightforward. However, consideration must also have to be taken place where there is a change in the bands. Whether the personal allowances will be affected or not. Just imagine by one or two, just imagine how one like 125, 140. If we're increasing to let's say 125, 150, oh my god, with just 10 extra, you will not get now the personal allowances. Means just with the increase something which is at a marginal cost. If it's getting changed, you need to get some relief, isn't it? So things get changed. Yeah, it is affecting the PA also. Either by losing the personal allowance, you will not get the personal allowance back. If such type of income is changing, yeah, if such type of some or the other way income is changing, then if such type of income is changing such that the nil rate band is also affected, then it's most likely better to do the full tax calculation rather than only working for margin, because it is going to work at a higher pace. Isn't it? Looking at the margin can also be useful for considering the tax planning for. It is most useful, seriously, for married couple and civil partners, because they can have the adjustments to be done between two, right? Rather than us just person only earning and just doing it. It's actually this concept has also came from the perspective that they can have a benefit if they can adjust it some or the other way, so that they being safe than entering in a higher rate taxpayer just because of some nominal changes or nominal income. No. Looking at the other advice, please look out for the any advice in the exam questions which may point you towards please see the beneficial to margin or not. If it is there, you have to think from the perspective of okay, over here also there is some tax savings concept which you have to apply. Otherwise, don't start applying these concepts. Otherwise, you will make mistake. So please, without going into any sort of mistaken thing, try to have an eye on the proper pace, yeah, without getting anything gadbad. Yeah. So okay, there was a question which is understand as a working at the margin. Let's understand the question. Okay, there's a person. Lauren is a shareholder. Just try to recollect the question. Okay, so there's a person, Lauren. She is a shareholder also, and she is an employee of a company which is Bodhi Limited. Means a single person is a shareholder and an employee. So maybe she is earning something in the shareholder's capacity and she is earning something as an employee's capacity also. So if she is earning some or the other way, can she get something different? Like for example, yeah ma'am, she can get her salary, ma'am, she can get as a shareholder, she can get dividend also. Maybe that can be transferred or make it manipulatively or something, whatever. Like let's just understand what they want to frame the question. Because I know the question, but I don't want you to know the question prior to you read. Yeah. So she has employment income. So she is working somewhere. So she is having an employment income of pound 150. So she is having an employment income, means a non-saving income of 150. Okay, cool. For the year ended on 2023, she normally receives bonus of 30. So don't you think at 150, if she exceeds, she becomes a higher rate taxpayer, she becomes additional taxpayer. Yeah, she is right now also a higher rate taxpayer. If she achieves more than 150, she'll be an additional rate taxpayer. Yeah, so she normally gets up a bonus. So if she gets up a bonus of 30, definitely she'll be entering into that 45% slab rate. Yes, agreed? Yes ma'am. That is something which we understood it. So what they did it, they were very smart. So what they did it, however, for the year ended, the company paid her a dividend of 30 instead, because maybe here it is 45%, maybe for the dividend the rates are not 45%, the rates are something lesser. because she is an employee as well as a shareholder. So she thought, like Lauren thought, like, okay, better than paying the taxes in the name of bonuses, let me pay the taxes in the name of dividend. If you are doing so, is there any tax savings which is happening? Yeah. So let us understand that perspective also. That is, Lauren wants to know if she is better financially fine to receive the dividend, or it's better to use understand it as a bonus. So okay, without having any further delay, I'll just show you the tax rates. Okay, if you read up the tax rates, guys, it's very clearly evident that if I'm the basic rate payer, it's 20. Okay, more than 150 anything, it's 45%. So if my bonus is included here, I have to pay 30k into 45%. Along with that, if I am an employee, guys, please remember, employee, you cannot be like complete without NIC. Salary, maybe anything, maybe if it's possible, NIC can also hit. Let's see what happened. Over there, some return things are there. Okay, 20, 40 and 45. Okay, but if she gets a dividend, instead of 45%, she will have to only pay 39.35%. Ma'am, there is a savings because she is entering into the third slab, isn't it? Yes. If she is entering into third slab, something which is more than 150, she don't have to pay an extra amount of 45%. No, only 39.35% will work well. Oh, such a way. Yes, ma'am, we can do. Can we do? Yes. It's permissible. It's been acceptable also. Can there be, ma'am, anything else like beyond this? And ma'am, there is any concept of NIC for that you told? Yeah, I can say over here, because when it is an employee, you need to know what about if NIC can be hit on. Okay, if you see, she is getting obviously more than 1,50,000. So she is over here employee. So obviously she has to pay something of 3.25% also, 3.25 NIC. So over here, do I need to learn the stuff? No, ma'am. What to learn? It's just that my mind should work. Where should I hit the concepts, right? So it will work well, obviously. Yes. So with that overview, I'll just start solution. Yeah. I'll just try to show you the question with you. First, 150 and 30k was a situation. Okay, let's just let's try to recollect the question. Okay, let's just try to solve the question. First, let's say first I'll consider it as she is receiving a dividend. Let's say she is receiving a dividend of 30k. If she is receiving a dividend of 30k, so obviously now, right, she is ma'am, she is a higher rate taxpayer, like additional taxpayer. So additional rate taxpayer. So if you read about the dividend, were you getting something like 39.35% of tax liability? Yes. So what is the tax liability if she is gonna have a dividend? So if you remember, guys, on any dividend, initially for £2,000 it's 0%, and beyond that you have to pay taxes. Agreed? Yes. So for dividend purposes, let's say tax on dividend is equal to tax on dividend for initial £2,000, it is going to be 0%, so it's 0. For remaining £28,000, you know that the tax rate is 39.35%, which will up next come to be how much? Yes, am I getting something around 11018? So my tax liability will be 11018. This is what I thought, because it's a dividend. Yeah. Do NIC contribution is any part of there in your dividends? Ma'am, no. For NIC, no NIC is there for dividend, ma'am. I don't feel so, ma'am. So there is no NIC. So in short, what is she getting in her hand? So she is getting a dividend of 30k. Instead of that, she has to pay a tax liability of 11018. So what is her net income? So what's her net getting? Like, what is she net getting up in her hands? So maybe she is getting 18,982. If she receives that dividend, if she receives that stuff in the name of dividend. Easy, simple, clear? Yeah. Instead of dividend, if she receives something else, let's say, what is she planning to receive? Let's say she don't want to receive dividend, she want to receive 30k as a bonus only. So she want to receive bonus, she comes in the normal tax payable situation. And she is a high rate taxpayer, so 45% she has to pay. Yes. For example, she receives a bonus of 30k, and again she is an additional taxpayer, so she has to pay 45% tax. So what is her tax liability? So her tax liability for the bonuses will go up to 30k into 45% tax. So my god, ma'am, it's way beyond. Yes, which comes up to be 13,500 only as a tax. But ma'am, we have an NIC contribution also, which this people has to do. And again, if it is a higher taxpayer and which is more than 150, it was 3.25 she has to pay. Yes, so 30k into 3.25 percentage. Guys, this is what, if you can correlate with me, means superb, you know, matlab that is what is going to show you that yeah, your preparation is at a top notch. Otherwise, work very hard. Otherwise, please work very hard. Like it's very less days now. It's legitimately very less days now. Like something, oof, we cannot come up with 14,475. So that is what you have to pay the tax liability. So what she'll receive as a net income? What she'll get as a net income? So she received a bonus of 30k, and in front of that she has to pay 1475. Oh my god. So she'll be having very less amount as in her hand. Yeah, 15,552.25. Only this much she'll be having in her hand. And if she received as a dividend, she was having 18,920. So you will say, ma'am, it's better. Tell her that. Don't receive in the name of bonus. Receive in the name of dividend, so that at least she gets something better, isn't it? Yeah, so how much better she can get? Yeah, ma'am, I can get the difference of 18,982 and something around 15,528 to 525, which is up a difference of how much? 18,928. And so if I'll just make it shorter, I think it's visible now, isn't it? So like very less, no, I have written it, maybe it's clear. So if she's receiving in the name of dividend, she is getting up a savings up of, like getting a earnings of 18,982. So isn't it 18,982? And when it is bonus, she is getting 1,552. So obviously there is a savings that she is going to receive, and the difference comes up at the rate of 3,457, isn't it? Yeah, superb. So it's a difference of 3,457. So yeah, it's obviously a clear-cut picture that she should better get a dividend instead of getting what? Yeah, ma'am, she should get a better dividend, and instead of getting up a bonus. Yeah, superb. Let's just take a break of 2 minutes and resume back.